And welcome into the Tuesday edition. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game, presented by Green Ventures Landscaping for homes and businesses that want to stand out, not blend in. Visit greenventureslandscaping.com. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Hope everybody's off to a fabulous start here on this Tuesday morning. Robbie Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode and Ian Safar here with you. And we got a lot going on the program here today. We'll take your thoughts throughout the show, 615-737-1025. Joe Rexrode, good morning. How are you? What's going on?
Well, thanks for asking. My left shoulder is kind of killing me today, man. I yesterday was push day at the gym, and
how are the headphones?
The headphones are good. The headphones
Okay,
I first ones I tried, boom, and it's not like the ones I did yesterday. It's like the black ones that I usually use. So
it's good.
So that's But push day. So I got like a chest press on one of them. So that one was fine. What was the other one? Oh yeah, like a butterfly thing. But then like this shoulder thing for whatever reason, like I have the weakest shoulders, man. Like everything else is fine. I'm pretty high on weight and stuff. But like the shoulder, I'm like a child on that machine. It's like I'm at number 8 right now, and I've been doing this for a while, and I really went hard yesterday, and I think I blew out my shoulder. So thanks for asking.
Well, it would be a 2 or 3 week period at the gym if you didn't think you'd blown something out. So that's good.
That is true. Yeah. No, it's been a while. It's been a minute. So we're back. We're back in business, baby.
That's good. Ian, how are we doing? How's your body?
Oh, I actually tweaked my neck a little bit yesterday too. Unfortunately, it was not working out. Picking up a case of water and moving it to the garage.
That's an old man strength workout. That's real life workout, man.
At some point, I don't know. This was like last year. I don't know. I have like this weird pinched nerve. I had a pinched nerve in my neck that was really bothering me, and it was doing better. And then yesterday, I think I just picked up the water at a weird position with my hands and my fingers, and it pulled my arm, and it like immediately went to my pinched nerve spot in my neck, and I could feel it all night. I woke up multiple times going, oh my goodness, my neck is killing me. It's like right at my neck and collarbone-ish area where it goes from there to my shoulder where I can just feel it. And you move your neck in the one spot and it's just like, and it's like, it takes your breath away for a quick second.
No, that sucks, man. No,
I did physical therapy. Didn't really help much because, she was like, it's a pinched nerve. We can try something. She showed me some neck twists.
It just kind of works itself out, right? I mean, that's
basically what it can do. Pinched nerve, like you just kind of have to let it flare down.
Yeah.
So, yep.
That sucks, man. I couldn't sleep on the one side last night, because of this. I mean, Robbie, we're
struggling over here.
What kind of ailment have you got going on?
For everybody out there, my body feels great right now. It feels. I feel like a young man at this point. I was actually talking with my wife yesterday about how good I feel right now. So there's some positivity on the show today.
Well, you are much younger than both of us, so
that is true.
That checks out.
It does. It tracks.
Yeah, that's all right. I don't feel that way sometimes. Sometimes I feel older than both of you.
You're an old soul, but I'd rather be an old soul with a young body than an idiot with an old body.
We got a lot going on the show today. Charles Robinson from Yahoo. Well, he's not from Yahoo anymore. We talked about that last week. Charles Robinson, the number 1 free agent in the National Football League, will be with us at 8:00. Is that too much of a stretch? Number 1 free agent in the National Football League? I'm going with it, Joe. I like it.
I mean, at this point, that's probably about right? I mean,
yeah, I think
it's him or like whichever Bosa's out there.
I'm going him.
Yeah, we'll go Charles.
I'm going him. Charles will be with us at 8:00. All of a sudden, we got a whole lot of things to talk about with Charles from yesterday's day of action in the NFL. So looking forward to that. We will get into potentially a goaltending controversy at 7:00. We'll get into that a little bit later in the show as well. But Joe, let's begin here A couple of big trades in the National Football League yesterday. Let's start with this one. Myles Garrett traded from the Cleveland Browns to the Los Angeles Rams for Jared Verse, a first-round draft pick in 2027, a second-rounder in 2028, and a third-rounder in 2029. So Cleveland getting multiple draft picks and Jared Verse in return to the Rams for sending Myles Garrett to the LA Rams. Joe, as somebody who roots for an NFC team in this, I was not very happy yesterday. What are your thoughts on Myles Garrett to the Rams?
Massive. Now, remind me, because we talked yesterday about this guy who covers the Packers. Did he say Garrett to the Rams, or was he mentioned a Garrett trade, right?
He did, to the Rams.
Yeah. How about that? Got to start paying more attention to that guy.
We'll see, because now he's spouting out a whole bunch of stuff. But we'll see.
Really? Oh, he's got more stuff. Oh, okay. I'll have to check that out. No, it's massive. And now, to me, the whole thing makes sense now. In terms of the Rams, have been sitting here talking about Ty Simpson and all that, right? I mean, they're not going to be in any sort of position to get their next quarterback. And I don't know that they knew this was going to happen, but the picture makes sense now, right? They had a guy they liked, they grabbed him, and otherwise they're, again, F them picks fart them picks is the Rams mantra, and it's incredible how they've been able to do that and be successful in a league where drafting is so critical. Now, obviously, they still, you go out and get a Verse and you get a Fisk and you get a Nakua and on and on, like those are draft picks. So it's not like the draft hasn't been important to them, but I mean, this is an incredible job of loading up to me. I mean, yes, you're sending Verse back to the Browns, but you're adding the most dominant defensive player in the league. And I mean, it's a big time move by the Rams. Like, they got to be the favorite to win it all now.
I think they've got to be the favorite to win it all. I mean, throwing Myles Garrett in on that team. I mean, the one thing about them, Joe, that I will say is they better hope they stay healthy. And I know you could say that about everybody, but you're talking Stafford's in his late 30s. Devontae Adams is in his mid 30s. Myles Garrett, what's he, 31, 32, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
Like, you better hope that you can find a way to get through the year and stay healthy. I mean, I was worried to death about Stafford's back last year heading into the season, and that never seemed to be any sort of issue at all. So that's good. But they do have, some older players there that you feel like, all right, well, if you're going to win, you better win now. And look, this move is all about the quarterback, right? Like, they know that they've got probably a year or two left with Matt Stafford. They worked his contract out last week. We talked with Charles about that. You've got basically 2 years here with Matthew Stafford, and then you can reevaluate after that. And this move is all about winning now. So, I mean, I have no problem with it if you're the LA Rams. Like, people are talking about the compensation they gave up the other way. It's a lot. Yeah, I mean, Jared Verse, pretty darn good player.
Yes.
I think Cleveland did pretty well in this, although I will say, I understand Jared Verse is a part of this, so that factors into this. I thought that they could get multiple first rounders here. So I guess that depends on which one you value more. But if you're from the Rams perspective, when Ty Simpson does take over, he may be looking at the rest of the roster here in about 3 years and saying, good grief, what's here? They're all gone, right? All these guys are gone. So they're clearly in win now mode, which I have no problem with teams being aggressive when they feel like they're in win now mode. And the Rams certainly are.
Yeah, Garrett, by the way, is 30. He doesn't turn 31 till the end of the year. So
is that right?
Yeah, that surprised me too. But yeah, I mean, that's what it is. That's what this league's about. You're trying to win championships, and they loaded up obviously with the trade for him, for Stafford, and some of the getting Odell back. Whatever, they did a lot of things a few years ago to rally up to get there, and it's impressive to me. And yeah, of course you're giving up a lot. Our guy Jeff Howe at The Athletic, guess his trade, if you haven't read them yet, his trade grades for this.
I'll go Cleveland A-, LA B+.
A+. Okay. But it's interesting because the Cleveland discourse, I think some fans are obviously like, no, please do not move. Like, Myles Garrett is the one thing we have to look forward to every week, you know? I mean, he's a great player. I want him to be a Brown his whole career, and he's still young enough where if these guys ever do figure it out, like, he'll be there. But I got to say, man, Verse, you know, you're talking about the rookie defensive player of the year. I know 12 sacks in 2 years. That's not Myles Garrett number. He's he's going to be
He's a good player.
Yes. Yeah. And then a first, second, and third along with that, along with the flexibility you have. I mean, this is them digging out of the Watson deal. You know, that's really what it is. This is their finally like their counter move to that. And yes, I mean, it's tough for the Browns fan who, I mean, they probably just about everybody in that stadium wears 95 jerseys, right? But I do think that I like this for them. I mean, it gives them a chance here to dig out of this.
Hasn't led to much winning.
Out,
Hasn't led to much winning for the Browns, anyways. With Myles Garrett, he could have 20 sacks and they still come in last in the division.
Yeah.
So might as well shake it up a little bit. Yeah. Maybe.
I mean, they're gonna have to figure out quarterback, you know, and that's what you say about a lot of teams in this league, and
get an extra
especially
pick.
The bad ones.
Yeah, get an extra pick for next year. See what you can package.
But next year, if it's a good draft, especially at that position that people hope, then they should be in position to go get the next one.
Well, and this also, I don't know that it totally gets rid of it, Joe, but it does, I think, limit the discourse of like if they get into the season and it's like, well, you guys could have used your first round pick on another player other than Ty Simpson who was sitting there. It's like, well, yeah, after that they did go trade for Myles Garrett, so there is that you throw in there as well.
100%. I mean, it makes sense to me now, and because like, and you know, a lot of reporting on the whole McVay thing is like he behind the scenes actually was totally in love with Ty Simpson. That day he was trying to like put on he didn't want to be too celebratory for Stafford. Apparently there was some personal thing that happened to him too before that press conference that it hasn't been specified, but you know, and we'll see if Ty Simpson is what they think he is, but now they've got that in their back pocket and they don't have to worry about not having picks because, you know, they're not going to be able to get a QB now. Other than, I guess, you know, the way that a lot of teams are, which is getting guys in their second teams. But no, it all makes sense. And like you said, their age, their health, we'll see. Look, a year ago, your team went and got Parsons, and I immediately was like, well, geez, are they not going to win it all this year? You know, I mean, a lot of things can happen. They do have a little bit better coach than your team.
There ain't no doubt about that.
We can all agree on that. But yeah, can they stay healthy? I mean, that's I guess a question for every team every year.
Yep. There was another huge trade in the NFL.
Oh, by the way,
yesterday. We will get into that. Coming up next, we'll take your reaction to the Myles Garrett trade. A.J. Brown officially traded from the Eagles to the Patriots. We will get into that. Your thoughts on all of it. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. Big day in the NFL yesterday. Myles Garrett traded to the LA Rams. And Joe, one of the worst kept secrets in the NFL, A.J. Brown traded from the Philadelphia Eagles to the New England Patriots. The Patriots give up a first-round draft pick in 2028, a fifth-round draft pick in 2027. So the Eagles do land a first-round pick out of this, and now A.J. Brown officially with the New England Patriots. So we talked yesterday about the idea of Vrabel kind of getting the band back together with Byard already in New England and now A.J. Brown in New England. What do you make of the compensation from New England to Philadelphia and the deal that sends A.J. Brown to the New England Patriots?
Yeah, well, nice little cute little deal. That's nice. You guys made a little trade, little undercard. But yeah, it's what we've talked about. I mean, I think that I think it seems like a fair deal. I think it's the 28 first rounder. That's an interesting thing. And I've seen some complaints about that, and I kind of get it. It's like if you're an Eagles fan, it's like all everybody's talking about is how incredible this 2027 draft is, and you guys couldn't. You guys agreed to, defer it to 28, and I have no idea. Like I haven't heard like what the 28 draft is supposed to be, but I just know that everybody's just absolutely going gaga over this draft, talking to like McShay's like the best draft of my career and whatever. So
yeah,
seems like that would have been ideal. It seems like, the Eagles couldn't get somebody else to get in there and bid with the Pats, right? I mean, they obviously that's how you drive the price up, and it appears that really nobody else was seriously involved there. So that's how, if you're the Pats, you can get away with just giving them a 28 first and keeping your 27 first. So I'm assuming the Pats haven't dealt their 27. I don't think they have, right? Like that could have been dealt here, and it wasn't. So, and probably if there's another team seriously involved for A.J. Brown, then you might be able to get yourself a 27 first. So a little bit disappointing, I guess, from that perspective for the Eagles. Obviously they've already been, they got Mekhi Lemon, who I think is going to be really good, and they've been out there adding receivers. And so, we'll see. I mean, it's going to be really interesting. One is A.J. Brown. We talked about it yesterday. I mean, I think he's going to be max A.J. Brown, whatever he can be his best at this point in his career. It's going to be, and I still think that's pretty freaking good. I think New England's going to get his best. And then what becomes of Jalen Hurts after this is going to be really interesting too.
Yeah, it is. And, yesterday's a big day in the NFL just in terms of, teams loading up on talent. I mean, look, the A.J. Brown thing, we've known that this has happened for a couple of months, basically. I mean, this has been talked about for a while. So, yesterday was just confirmation that it was going down. When you factor in both, you've got A.J. Brown heading to New England on a team that was in the Super Bowl last year. You've got Myles Garrett heading to L.A. on a team that got to the NFC title game last year. And I think all of us would agree by the end of it, and really at the time, like Seattle, LA in some ways kind of felt like the Super Bowl last year. Now, I don't know that I expected the Super Bowl to be as dominant as it was from the Seahawks. Drake May couldn't get anything going. But like you're talking about two teams that were already really good loading up on more talent. I just wonder if you're the rest of the league kind of looking at this right now. If you're a team in the NFC, like if you're the Seahawks or if you're the Eagles or if you're the Packers or whoever, and you're looking at what the Rams did yesterday, you got to be looking around and going, God, there's no other way to spin it. Like your odds, if you're being honest with yourself, of representing the NFC in the Super Bowl yesterday took a hit with Myles Garrett coming to the Rams, right? Like you took an already good team and you added the best pass rusher in the league to that team. That's a problem, right? That's a huge problem if you're an NFC team. Like if you're an AFC team, if you're Josh Allen, how are we feeling about A.J. Brown going from the Philadelphia Eagles to the Patriots yesterday, right? That's a That's a big move. So you're talking about pretty darn elite talent being exchanged and added to different teams in the month of June, which does happen in the NFL, but I feel like it doesn't happen that often. Like, I mean, it's a huge trade, particularly on the Myles Garrett front yesterday.
I mean, how many days have we had with 2 trades like this on the same day? I mean, that's and
It
obviously
can't be very many.
And obviously, this is the day, contractually that teams could do it. That's why it was on that day. I mean, with the A.J. Brown trade has been a pretty open secret for a while. But yeah, I can't think of many where examples of two moves like that. Reading up, speaking of Jeff Howe, he had a thing in his piece about what I was just saying, which is essentially that there just weren't other suitors for Brown, and in part because of durability concerns, and that's fair. I mean, now that he's getting up there, he hasn't had anything serious with the knees, but he has had knee stuff, right? That has limited him at times and is taken him out of some games here and there. So, I mean, I get it. And then, you tack on whatever the heck I guess you could blame Jalen Hurts fully if you want, but obviously all that stuff there is going to be a deterrent for some teams too. And I get it.
Did you see the Trey Wingo tweet that got Rams fans going yesterday a little bit?
No.
All right. So the NFL on ESPN, put out this graphic of, every time there's a trade, they Photoshop, whoever in the jersey where they're going. So they put out this graphic of the next great defensive line on the Rams. Imagine if Aaron Donald can come out of retirement. And then Trey Wingo quote tweeted it. It said, quote, "Let's just say that's more than just imagination. All I can tell you right now." So now people are like convinced that Aaron Donald's coming out of retirement and joining the defensive line up there with Myles Garrett.
Well, someone else on the text line mentioned that too, Chase from White Bluff, and I'm like, man, that is it sounds far-fetched, but apparently he has said that. Is that right? That he said he would come out of retirement if they got Garrett?
I don't know.
That's what he claims. Boy, what would that look like? First of all, what would that cost? And also, like, after a couple years, like, what kind of shape is he in,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, far be it from me to doubt Aaron Donald, but I think I'm about to go on and doubt Aaron Donald a little bit. Like,
yeah.
He hasn't played football in 2 years, and he's 35 years old. Like, you would be talking about doing things at that point, at that position, that have probably, I mean, I'd have to look into it, but I'm pretty confident saying have never been done before. So we'll see. I mean, again, he's an absolute freak of nature. He is one of the best defensive players I've ever seen in my life. So if anybody could do it, it's probably him. But at 35 years old, having not played football in a couple of years, it sounds far-fetched. I think you nailed it to start that part of the conversation. It sounds far-fetched.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's fun to think about. I mean, but yeah, like, at that age, the way he played, and he had like this ankle thing too. I mean, well, he had ankle surgery. That I'm sure he's all fixed up from that. At best, he'd have to be like a situational, player. You would think, like, to get close to the type of player he was after 2 years away. There's just no way. There's no way it was easy, right? Obviously he was a freak, but I mean, to be that explosive and that dominant, that would, it's hard to imagine. But I mean, it's it would be fun to even see him entertain this and talk about it and see how that would even work out.
I mean, I talked about NFC teams freaking out yesterday with Myles Garrett joining the Rams. Can you imagine if Aaron Donald came out of retirement and joined them too? Like, oh, good. That's great. Awesome.
Yeah. I know. Sure. Why not? Who else can, who else can somehow get on this team? Is it true that the Titans, someone's telling us that the Titans signed Von Miller?
I have not seen that.
That's Ryan in Florida. Are you just making stuff up, Ryan? Ryan in Florida, you making stuff up?
Yeah, I had not seen that.
I don't think that's happening.
Okay.
And
I
don't.
Per Ryan in Florida. Congratulations, Ryan in Florida. You got me.
I don't know why Von Miller would sign with the Titans, but okay.
Yeah, like the ring chaser. Well, maybe because the Spurs and Knicks are playing in the finals.
Well, maybe so.
That's just science, man.
Maybe so. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We get more of your thoughts to get to on the text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We will do that. Jeremy Fowler was on with Next Man Up yesterday. We'll get into some of what he had to say as well. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Our football offseason coverage brought to you by Tennessee Brew Works. From kickoff to last call, Tennessee Brew Works, the official craft beer of football offseason coverage here on ESPN 1025 The Game. Charles Robinson will be with us later in the program at 8 o'clock. We will get his thoughts on the big moves in the National Football League yesterday. Taking your thoughts. Jeff from Nebraska says, Joe, thank God the Titans don't play the Rams this year. Mandor and Latham can sleep soundly. I will say, Joe, Mandor, J.C. Latham did pretty well against Myles Garrett last year. I was scared to death heading into that game. I thought he was going to set the NFL single-game sack record, but he didn't. Didn't even get one. Did well against Myles Garrett last year.
How the heck did that happen? I forget.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
Tony Pollard also, looked like Chris Johnson for a day. So,
I mean, when you're coached by Mike McCoy, that's where game plans go, baby. That's good stuff. Myles Garrett had 23 sacks last year, but he couldn't solve the Tennessee Titans.
Guys, can you just please go out there and please block Myles Garrett? Thank you. Okay. I haven't done a Mike McCoy in a while. Yeah. Well, so the Titans, they miss it. Now they miss A.J. because they were going to play A.J. They miss him now. And they play Cleveland, right? So they were going to see Myles and they miss him now, right? So they escape these two with these two trades. So congrats. Now, I don't know that
get to play Jared Verse,
like you have that's true. You have the absolute fear of God in you anymore for playing A.J. Brown, but certainly Myles Garrett, not having to see him, yeah, it's good. Yeah, I mean, Verse still really good, but I'll take my chances with him over Myles Garrett.
I mean, you may not have the fear of God for playing A.J. Brown anymore, but like if he came into Nissan and spanked the goalpost, Amy might fire half the people involved in the organization, even though they weren't here.
That is true. Yeah. It's like, who was still here when we traded him? You're fired too now.
That would be good.
There's a few people.
There's a few. Not many, but a few.
Mm-hmm.
They're still hanging around there. Let's see here. The Giants did make some moves yesterday. Odell Beckham back to the Giants, which normally would generate some headlines, but yesterday kind of got swept under the rug there, Joe.
Man, I mean, that's kind of cool, I guess. Put Odell back in a Giants uniform,
It's been a minute since he's done anything.
Where it all began, but yeah, I mean, is that kind of like now you can retire as a Giant kind of thing?
Yes. I mean, how old is he? 33?
I think that's correct.
Yeah, he's 33.
I think I saw that. Yeah.
See, that's just like when you earlier with Myles Garrett. Like to me, I would have said 36. It's just but yeah. But 33 and with a lot of injuries in the rear view.
A lot of injuries in the rear view. And the two most recent appearances, I mean, he had in 2023, 35 catches for 565 yards with the Ravens. And then in 2024, he had 9 catches in 9 games with the Dolphins. That's the last we've seen of Odell Beckham.
Yeah.
Didn't play last year.
And by the way, throw in Juju Smith-Schuster and Braxton Berrios. So, I mean, hey, just get all
of them.
I mean, again, if you could combine these three with the healthy parts of their bodies into one player, you'd be doing pretty well.
That did also mean that Jalen Hyatt no longer with the New York Giants. So, I mean, interested to see where he ends up.
Yeah, it's been tough, and it's another, it's been disappointing for him. I thought it would, I thought things would work out a little better for him than they have.
Does Daboll want him here?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Probably not, but he flashed a few deep plays in that system early on as a rookie.
Yeah, but I mean, you're talking. What exactly was he hurt last year? At all?
Hyatt, I'm going to be totally honest with you. I totally forgot he was on the team last year. I have no idea. What were his numbers last year? He had 5 catches for 35 yards in 8 games.
Yeah, he played in 8 games and had 5 catches. I didn't know it was that bad. Well, I knew that he was kind of an afterthought, but yeah, you're talking about you had a little bit as a rookie, and then in the last 2 years, a total of 13 catches for 97 yards. Like
it just has not worked.
Yeah,
that Hendon Hooker, Jalen Hyatt combo could have been special in the NFL. It's not worked out that way.
Well, it could work here.
Well, all the naysayers, of that Tennessee offense, there you go. Just point to that. These guys were just utterly dominant. Nick Saban had no idea what to do with them. Could not deal with them at all. gives
saw
up a
those
50
highlights.
burger to them, and they can't make a play in the NFL.
I saw those highlights again yesterday on TikTok. It was just like the Jalen Hyatt game against Alabama. I was like, that's one of the greatest college football games a wide receiver has ever played.
Absolutely.
And just nothing in the NFL.
No. I mean, won the Biletnikoff.
Yeah.
You know, again, now, a lot of people are talking, Tennessee, they've changed a lot of things and all that, and that's fine. But, it's just, it's however you want to look at it. On the one hand, it's never good for that offense moving forward if you don't have people who pan out. On the other hand, boy, talk about being able to do magic with some players as a system and as a coach, right? For your benefit.
Yeah. I mean, I guess now, so there's the thought process of the guy that you brought up, whose name is now escaping me, Joe, who had the Myles Garrett stuff, I guess the day before, that had things, kind of started snowballing on that front.
Your Packers
now there's
guy.
a thought out, that there's a thought that the Packers could be eyeing Josh Sweat. So we'll see what that looks like.
Okay.
But I mean, like if you're an NFC team, don't you have to, like, in some ways start looking at some of that stuff? I mean, you're not giving up your future. And clearly a lot of these teams are very hesitant to dive into the 2027 draft when it comes to exchanging, prominent picks in those drafts. But like the Rams are freaking loaded, man. Like they were already good. If you're trying to compete this year, don't you have to think about responding in some way? If you're a team like the Eagles or a team like the Packers or whatever it is, like if you feel like you're in your window to win right now, don't you have to like consider responding in some way to this?
I guess, but yeah, if you can. If you really can have a strong response, I just have my doubts about that. I mean, so Sweat, what the heck did he do with the Cardinals last year?
I mean, that would be a pretty strong response. He had 12 sacks last year.
He had 12 sacks last year. Yeah. I mean, he's still only 29. Yeah. I mean, sure. If you can do it. But I feel like when you look at their roster, I think your best bet is just hope that Puka Nacua just totally goes off the deep end or something, that, sure. Like if you can make a move, I mean, if the Packers had Sweat and Parsons, that's not bad.
May not be able to cover anybody, but it may not matter if they get to the quarterback.
Yeah. Well, I was reading a story today, like sort of like inside friend of the show, Jordan Rodriguez, on the inside the trade of the Rams. And that's what the Rams used to say. Well, first of all, they tried to trade for Garrett, by the way, in 2022. So they've been trying to do this, but the saying in the building was like, who's our best cornerback? Oh yeah, Aaron Donald.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
There's some definite truth to that.
Dean in Old Hickory says, is it just me or the returns for A.J. Brown's caliber talent too low? The Titans got nothing, and now it seems like the Eagles didn't get the type of draft compensation, say, that a Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase would command, both under the pretense of injury issues. He's going to ball out this season, and the Eagles GM will catch hell. It's not the same as J-Rob, but I feel like this will blow up in his face. This is from Dean from Old Hickory on the text line, Joe.
Well, first of all, he's a notch below Jefferson and Chase, especially at this point. Yeah. Look, he's still a great player, but it did, like last year. It went downhill a bit. Again, if you want to, you can blame Hurts, blame the offense. The injury stuff, it's not severe, but it's enough to worry about. Is he going to miss a handful of games now? Is that going to be a thing? Kind of like the knees. Is he a little slower now? I think all that stuff is fair. I think the return is. I think the return is fair. Certainly, if I'm the Eagles, I wanted a 27 pick. And like we were talking about earlier, I think if another team got in there, then maybe you could have had that. But when you're dealing with one team who wants the guy, you can't. You don't have as much leverage. So it'll be interesting, though. I agree. Like if he goes to the Pats and has a monster year, and then the Eagles aren't able to compensate, because I think Devontae Smith is maybe losing a step too. I mean, I don't think he's as good as he was. So now I'm a big fan of Mekhi Lemon. So, but if he doesn't come in, because the Titans obviously they got a first round pick, they picked a receiver. We know what happened. It was nothing close to any sort of replacement. if Lemon can come in and be a difference maker, then I think it'll be fine. The Eagles still have one of the best rosters, I think.
They got a good roster. It's gonna be a lot on Jalen Hurts. Like,
Yeah,
you know, he's got to play better than he did last year. And you know,
sure.
how much of that is on him? How much of that is on what they were doing offensively? We'll find out. But he's got to play better than he did this last year. Or we know in that city, in that market, I mean, they're going to be screaming about making a quarterback change like 2 years after he won a Super Bowl. So that will happen in Philadelphia. We'll see what happens on that front. We will get into Jeremy Fowler and his appearance on Next Man Up yesterday, what he had to say on the Tennessee Titans. We'll get into the Nashville Predators coming up at 7 o'clock. All that ahead. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. Charles Robinson will be with us at 8 o'clock on the program today. Jeremy Fowler joined Next Man Up yesterday from ESPN and had his thoughts on what he has seen from the Titans, what he has seen from Mike Borgonzi so far this offseason, and how he feels about the squad heading into 2026. Here's what Jeremy Fowler had to say yesterday with Jake Lyman on Next Man Up.
Yeah, so they seem to be on a good progression. It's Mike's show now, right? I don't think there's any doubt about that with the move from Chad Brinker and bringing in a new vice president who's really there to support Mike, and from my view at least. I think he's come in and taken ownership of the job and shown leadership, and so that's my understanding. The Carnell Tate pick sounds like it's going really well so far. I know they're just running around in shorts, but I think his ability is jumping up the tape a little bit. This is a guy who was the safest receiver bet, I would say, coming to the draft because, he just has a lot of polish. Ohio State knows how to do receivers, right? We're seeing him all over the league have success. So he's got pedigree. He can go get it. He's got enough speed, but really works hard, all those things. So it's a good first-round pick for them to sort of build off of. And, I like some of the free agent additions. They make sense. John Franklin Myers, even though you had to pay a lot for him, he makes a lot of sense in that system. Familiarity with Robert Saleh. And look, he zigged when everybody thought he would zag, right, with the Matt Nagy situation. I think the telegraph during the coaching carousel was that Borgonzi wanted Nagy. Well, they went with who they felt was the best man, which was Saleh. So, Saleh created a lot of late momentum in the process. So, so he really, Borgonzi proving to be somebody who is just trying to make sound decisions that are best for the team, no matter the implication or the sort of expectation that others had. He's trying to make the best decision.
That was Jeremy Fowler yesterday on with Jake Lyman there. That last part, I heard it, Joe, and I thought, thank God, right? I mean, it sounds simple, but just making decisions that you feel like are team-oriented. We've seen them do it basically twice now over the last year where they zigged, where everybody thought they were going to zag. And a lot of that, first off, one of that was Brinker, right? Like one of that was everybody looked like John Eric Sullivan was going to come in and be the GM of the Tennessee Titans, and it ends up being Borgonzi. And then especially as the process went on, it was like, oh, so Matt Nagy's going to be the head coach of the Tennessee Titans, and it ends up being Robert Saleh here. I'm interested to see, if that trend continues here, or how much of that is, the Titans looking at what the expectations are, and maybe Adam Strunk saying, go a different way with this. Everybody thinks we're going to do this. Go a different way with that. I forgot, PK brings this up all the time, Joe, with the John Eric Sullivan thing. I did forget about that until he brought it up a few weeks ago it did kind of feel like John Eric Sullivan was going to be the GM of the Tennessee Titans until Brinker pivoted there. I still would love to hear the inside baseball of that particular exchange.
Well, if it's anything other than we thought he was better, then yeah, if you're making decisions based on stuff like that, like because everybody's saying this or that, and so I'm not going to do the, whatever. Man, that's not great. And obviously before they actually made a hire to replace Brinker, it seemed like, is this just, is this like it still could be like basically a fake firing that you turn into something else, but at least they backed up their assertion that it was actually an important position, right?
Yes.
But yeah,
I feel much better about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that aspect of it anyway. But yeah, you hope that, what you really hope is just that Amy, and this has definitely happened, trusts the people she's paying well to do the job, and then you just let them go. So, and you hope that Borgonzi ends up being the better choice. Right now, Keep an open mind. Some people are convinced that's the case. We'll see.
Some people, when they saw Carnell Tate make the one-handed snag the other day, Joe, that's what pushed him over the top. It was like, yep, Borgonzi's cooking.
Oh my gosh, let Borgo boil. Yeah, that's pretty good. Let Borgo boil. make a T-shirt. Hashtag make it a T-shirt. Borgo, for some reason, I'm really struggling with that. Borgo was boiling there. That's a tongue twister.
Hey, it's a little bit of a tongue twister, but I'm all here for it. I mean, the Tate, Fowler described Tate as like the safest receiver in the draft. We talked about that kind of in the aftermath of it. I do think that has been overblown a little bit, Joe. Like, and probably a little bit even by us in the immediate aftermath of the draft. Of it's a safe pick, right? Like the floor is pretty high. It's like, well, that's good. I also need the ceiling to be pretty high. And I look, as you said yesterday, he was going to go at worst, what, 9th in the draft, 10th in the draft. So, like, this idea that it's this big time safe pick with Cornell Tate, there's some pretty good talent there that I think we know that, but I think too often in the immediate aftermath of the Titans picking him, that got glossed over. It's like, well, the Titans went with like this high floor guy at number 4 at wide receiver. It's like, well, he might end up being pretty good. I don't know, but he might end up being a pretty darn good player at number 4.
Yeah, the consensus top receiver and a guy. He's probably going to go, like you said, that's the low. I mean, he probably was going to go top 7 for sure, right? Top 7, 8. Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. It's just that.
And I think it became clear that Kansas City was pretty interested in him too.
Yeah. And, anytime you see a talented receiver, you imagine with Patrick Mahomes, like, probably look real good playing with that guy. So
they were at 6, the Chiefs, right? So possibly could have gone top 6.
Is that
they moved up?
They
to
moved
6
up
after that.
Yeah, they moved up.
Moved up
lane. Yeah,
to get the corner. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
But yeah, I mean, but the thing is, had the Titans not taken him,
Well, there was basically some reporting that came out after that they really liked Delane, who they moved up to get, and they liked Tate. And once Tate was gone, they figured they had to move up and get the other guy that they liked.
Yeah. So no, and that's just, it really is like the yes, that got overblown, the safe pick stuff, but it's because the alternative was like this, and we'll see, but it's like the ultimate, like, whoa, what a high ceiling guy,
Yeah.
Like, this is like an opportunity, even though the floor is lower there, the ceiling may be higher.
What do we like better? Chase from White Bluff says, let Borgo bake. We like let Borgo bake or let Borgo boil better.
I think I like let Borgo bake because it's easier to say. Let Borgo boil for some reason is bothering me. But I don't know. I mean, boiling water,
Yeah, bake, blend, blanch.
Oh, blanch.
Batter, baste.
I think I like batter.
Broil.
Oh my God, let Borgo broil.
That's even tougher.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Brine. I think I like batter.
Brine. We have so many
braise. Going through the B words here in the dictionary, or for cooking dictionary for B. I mean,
there's a lot.
I think bake might be my favorite.
I think bake is probably the way to go.
We can probably tweak that some.
No, you're not sure?
I'm going batter. I think batter's out.
Batter. Let them batter that fish.
We do like to fry things around here.
Give me that fish. I got to batter it up.
The fish and chips on Friday. We love it here at the Borgo house.
615-737-1025. Our phone number. I got a Preds question that I want to run by Preds fans coming up next that could get pretty interesting heading into next season. We will do that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Tuesday morning, presented by Green Ventures Landscaping, outdoor patios, landscaping design, lawn maintenance, and more. Visit greenventureslandscaping.com. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Charles Robinson will be with us at 8 o'clock. We will get into all things NFL with him, including the Myles Garrett and A.J. Brown trades. So looking forward to that coming up here in just about an hour. Joe, 2 developments I need to run by you. Number 1, I need everybody's good vibes and wishing me luck. I've just applied, Joe, for 2027 Masters tickets in the Masters lottery there.
Ooh,
so
okay.
Need some luck.
Did you tell them you're a Packers owner? You own the Packers. That should get you on the course, man.
I did not. They did not leave any box open for suggested comments, but I would like to pass that message along. So hopefully we get that part of it fixed. But find out here in a few weeks whether or not that venture is successful to land tickets to the Masters next year. And number 2, I just realized, speaking of the Packers, Joe, I said when their schedule come out that I think they're playing on Christmas and they're playing the day before Thanksgiving. A nice opportunity here for Matt LaFleur to ruin my holidays.
Yeah.
Guess who they play on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving?
Oh, is it the Rams?
The LA Rams.
Hi, Myles. Good to see you, Myles.
That'll be good.
Yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving to me.
Where is that?
I believe that is in Green Bay.
Okay, well, hey, man. Micah Parsons can sack quarterbacks.
No, it's not. It's in LA, so never mind.
Okay, well.
Forget everything I just said.
Well, you know what? I remember a time when Jeff Simmons and company just terrorized Matthew Stafford in Los Angeles. It seems like eons ago, but you just never know.
That's the thing about SoFi. However many people fit in that stadium, it'll be half Packers fans, so it'll be whatever.
That is true. Yeah, well, yeah, you never know. They might make your holidays. You just
maybe
don't know.
We'll see.
I gotta let Bar go barbecue. Let me throw that in there too.
That's not bad.
That's not bad.
It's not bad. I like that.
Someone said
Justus Annunen, Joe Rexrode, has just backstopped Team Finland to a world championship gold medal over there in the men's world championships in the IIHF tournament. This is a tournament that takes place every year. I would say this. Generally, too much is made of this tournament in terms of like what it means for like an NHL season. So let me start on that front. But congratulations to Team Finland. A 1-0 shutout win against Roman Josi and Team Switzerland to get them out in the gold medal game. Switzerland was the host of the tournament, so heartbreak for Team Switzerland there. This Alex Doherty put this out. And when you hear these numbers, you're going to be like, geez, good grief. So Annunen was 7-1 in the tournament for Team Finland with a .933 save percentage. Played very well for the Finns. Alex Barkov was back for the Finns. They end up winning the championship, winning the tournament there. So, Joe, you're talking about at this point, Justus Annunen, as we know, to end last regular season for the Predators, played in – I think it was either 3 or 4 really meaningful, gotta-have-it games for the Nashville Predators in a row, right? Like he was the hot hand. They were riding the hot hand. And in must-win situations, rather than going with UC Saros, who they have given this large, long contract to, Justus Annunen was in net for the Nashville Predators. And now he has gone over and backstopped Team Finland to a gold medal in the World Championships. So my question for you is this, clearly he is getting better. Like he is an ascending goaltender. The beginning of last season, it went so poorly for him that I was like, man, I don't know. Like they may need to end up finding a new backup goaltender here. And as the season went on, he figured some things out. He played really well and has continued to play well into the World Championships. What does that mean? What if the Predators get into next year and it's clear early on that Annunen is just playing better than Saros is? What do you do at that point? I mean, you're talking about new decision makers, I think, that are going to be in place by them when it comes to, whether it's a general manager or it's a president of hockey ops / general manager set up, whoever is going to be running the organization at that point will not be the same person that gave UC Saros a contract. What do you do if you're the Predators, knowing that Saros is going to have 7 years left on his deal if Annunen's playing better than he is next year?
Well, you just hit on the key, which is you're not restricted by you being the one who signed him, you being management, being the one who decided to sign him to that deal. So to me, I think what you do is you play Annunen more, and you look at it like a little bit more of a split situation, and you hope that helps Saros too, right? But I mean, when it comes down to it, it happens all the time in pro sports. Someone making more money than someone else, and the person making less money is just playing better. And it's absolutely supposed to just be a meritocracy. And so I think it's a lot easier for it to be a straight up meritocracy when it's not your butt on the line that this deal that you signed the goalie to doesn't look good. I mean, the reality is people have been complaining about that. We first guessed that, and we're not alone on that. So I think it's, hey, that could be a great problem to have, because the thing is, if the trend continues the way it is going with Saros, then you're like, well, so now they may actually be in the wilderness looking for a goalie, which is not a familiar situation for this franchise. But maybe some kind of a split duty thing works out for them, for all parties involved.
I hear you. I don't love the idea of UC Saros going split duty with 7 years left on his contract, right? Like, and that may end up being what you have to do. But I think that makes this thing really interesting. Like the contract says, the contract says you play UC Saros as your starter no matter what, right? I mean, we've already seen them not do that in must-win situations. They put in Annunen just a few months ago. So we've seen that not play out to this point. But long-term, like there is a difference long-term between, all right, 3 must-win games at the end of a season to try to sneak in as the final team into a wild card spot, and long-term, like what does it mean for your starting goaltender position? I just think it's a very interesting situation if it becomes clear early into next year that Annunen is just playing better than he is. Like, I think you're already, Joe, you're going to see Annunen get more games next year, right? Like he's first off, this past year was so weird because of the Olympic break, and you've got, there was just so many games in such a short amount of time that you had to use both goaltenders to some degree this past year. With the schedule being a little bit like more normal next year, and I know you're going to 84 games, but being more normal from the standpoint of like there's a normal cadence to the schedule, and you're actually going to get some time to, practice, and you're not playing like every second day the entire season. What does that mean for Saros? Like, is he able to rebound and get closer to what he was at the top of his level? Or does it just continue to be a trend where he is becoming more and more of a average at best goalie, and you're looking around saying, all right, well, he's got 7 years left on his deal. Meanwhile, Annunen's 26 years old and feeling like an ascending goalie. And I'll throw another thing at you, Joe, that would make that even more interesting. Let's say that they get to the end of this and it is Chris McFarland who ends up being the president of hockey ops, and he comes in here as in charge. Well, he had Annunen in Colorado, right? Like they traded him, right? Mm-hmm. They traded him for Scott Wedgwood. But clearly, like they liked him enough where they brought him in the organization. How does that factor in if he looks at it and then says, I'm familiar with Justus Annunen, and he's clearly gotten a lot better here? What does that all mean?
Yeah, it's it's like Borgonzi is like on the good end of the Snead trade, and then comes here like, I got to deal with Snead situation. A little bit different, but it's kind of funny. It's one of those like you go back to where, and in this case, it's like, oh, maybe shouldn't have done that, but hey, this guy's good. So look, to me, it's just like I think it's a good thing. The more pressure he applies, and I don't know if that helps Saros at all. You know, it's kind of like the idea of like, oh, this quarterback needs a competitor. It's like, no, I think he just needs to get better, and maybe he's just not very good. You know, like, is this quarterback struggling, you know, because he's not working, or, you know, because he doesn't care? Or is it just that he's just not good enough? And with Saros, he just may be diminishing at this point, and it may be just as simple as I just. Again, I get the whole thing. I mean, the contract is what it is, man. It's not good. It's bad.
Yeah.
It's going to age poorly. Like, even if he was playing well the last 2 years, I'd still believe that. I'd still believe that we're looking at like 3-4 years of like, boy, there's an albatross around your neck, you know? So if you kind of fall into someone who, like you said, is young and maybe really turning into a really good player, man, that's a great deal. That could be a big save for you.
So we'll take your thoughts on that. 615-737-1025. What if it becomes pretty clear early in the next season that Annunen is just playing better in goal than Saros is? What do you do at that point if you're the Nashville Predators? We'll take your thoughts on that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Today, the Nashville Sounds take on the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. First pitch is at 6:05. You can catch all the action on 94.9 The Fan, presented by Twin Peaks, Family Leisure, and Social Cantina. Taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. So Justus Annunen played very well for the Nashville Predators to end the regular season. He has continued that play into the World Championships with Team Finland winning the gold medal there and him playing very well in the process. So my question is pretty simple. Like, what do you do if you're the Nashville Predators and it becomes pretty clear early in the next year that Annunen is just outplaying Saros? Saros with the contract, it's not going anywhere. I mean, its contract is going to be a burden, I think, moving forward here. What do you do at that point if you're the Nashville Predators? Taking your thoughts on that on our phone and text lines, on our YouTube chat. Jacob says, with Annunen playing well, Saros being historically a slow starter, that could make for an awkward goalie situation at the beginning of next year. Loppy says Saros is going to be split duty the rest of his career. You can re-sign Annunen and trade Jack Ivankovic, but you're trading a goalie within the next 1 to 3 years, and it's not going to be Saros. Talking about the contract there. I mean, they do have, as we've pointed out, another goalie coming up through the pipeline, probably a few years away at this point, that you can look at that is promising, right? Like, we've talked about him, like he's a promising up and coming player. The idea of trading Saros, if you're the new GM or the president of hockey ops or whatever it is coming in there, there's a lot that goes into that. And frankly, I with the length of the contract, not even necessarily the money, because the money's not that bad with the cap going up, but with the length of the contract, I just wonder how much interest there would be in UC Saros at this point. The bottom line is this, Joe. If this situation that I presented plays out, where Annunen is clearly outplaying Saros in the next year, it makes things very, very interesting to see how the new people in charge would handle that type of situation.
Yeah. Yeah, and Darcy, among others, talking about the trying to get a big return for him, as we talked about before, and that's just it's really interesting. I'd be very interested. It's probably a range around the league of what teams think. Yes, you can make the case that there's a lot that has gone on around him that hasn't helped him. The underlying numbers still aren't very positive. They're not very forgiving. And again, the size, the age, the style that he has to play, that's where the age might be more of a factor than with some goalies. But is it also possible there's teams out there who are like, I think that there's still a really good player in there, I mean, it's, someone mentioned, retaining salary, stuff like that. Well, I mean, I think the Preds, the new GM, should be open to something like that too. I just have questions about, what exactly you're going to be looking at. But if Annunen is going to keep ascending here, and then is it Ivankovic or Ivankovic? I don't know.
I've heard Ivankovic, but
okay, the Michigan
who knows?
Goalie. If that is looking good, then you've got the future looks solid. Then you don't feel I mean, I feel like the new GM has got to be open to that idea, and of course Saros would have to waive the NMC, but that's got to be part of the discussion too, right? As a possibility.
Yes. Yeah. And the other part of this is, and this plays into the tangible part of this, like Justus Annunen, if Mitch Korn and Ben Vanderklok have gotten in here and figured something out with him, which we have seen them do before, right? Like it would not be surprising if after working with Mitch Korn and Ben Vanderklok for a couple of years, Justus Annunen has figured some things out in his game. Well, then you look at the measurables and he's 6'4", right? Like, it's just different. I mean, I'm looking at Carter Hart is 6'2" in the Cup final. Freddie Anderson is 6'4". I mean, the bottom line is you're not going to see a lot of starting goaltenders around the league that are 5'11", like UC Saros is. I mean, Annunen is more of your prototypical goalie size now in today's NHL that just takes up more than that. Yeah. And, for the majority of Saros's career to this point, that hasn't mattered. It seems like with each passing year, Joe, it's mattering more and more. It just does. It seems like it's it's mattering more and more. And the question is going to be, how much is that going to change as he gets into age 31, age 32, age 33? Like, I don't know that I envision that getting better over the next few years. So, I mean, if Annunen, if Corn, and this goes back a little bit, Joe, as to why I thought this contract was not a good idea to begin with. Like, we have seen your goaltending coaches do a pretty darn good job with a lot of different goaltenders at this point throughout the course of their careers, right? And it looks like, we'll see. It's still early. And look, Annunen played really well down the stretch in the regular season. He's played well in the World Championships. I'm not necessarily willing to anoint him yet, but it looks like he is on the path to figuring some things out with Ben Vanderklok and Mitch Korn kind of leading the way there. And I just have a lot of confidence in this organization to find good goaltending because I've seen them do it time and time again.
That's true. Yeah, no doubt. And obviously in this situation, they certainly did. It's just you get to, there's people have different timelines. But yeah, that's absolutely, like, they obviously have an eye for it, and they're probably going to be okay. So yeah, like, it's just, I think the new guy, whoever it is, whenever we find out, however that happens,
yeah,
I think you have to have an open mind on anybody who might be interested, because, like, there's some teams out there that you can still make the case, that this could be the answer for you. It's just harder to make that case the way he's played the last couple of years, but be open to that. And certainly, again, I just, like, I don't think anybody in this, I don't think anybody but Saros is complaining if Annen's going to keep playing like this, if Annen gets more starts.
Yeah, that's great.
At the expense of Saros, right? I mean, just, the last year said a lot, the way the season ended, and the decisions that Andrew Brunette made.
I mean, nobody's going to have any problem with it, other than you just look at the contract attached to Saros and it's like, oh, good. So, like, Annenen's playing better than he is, and Saros ends up playing like 40 games next year, and you're paying that much money for it. Like, it just doesn't fly.
It's not great.
There's nothing you could do. The contract is what it is, to your point. At this point, like, there's nothing. The next GM is inheriting that. So that's what it is. But it just, if that's the way it plays out, you're going to be looking at it and you're going to say, okay, so Annunen is playing, they're splitting time with Saros at this point, and they're paying Saros almost $8 million a year to do it. And it's just, that's not what you want from that contract this early into it.
No, it's definitely not. Robert Nashville, good idea. How about promote Saros to GM? There you go.
Maybe.
A goalie GM. Have we ever had a goalie GM? Probably one of the original 6. There was some goalie GM back in the day.
Floyd on the YouTube chat says, I wish someone in the Nashville media would say it. Trotz did a poor job as general manager for this team. Bad deal with Saros in many of his trades.
Yeah, that's never been said.
Yeah, well,
no one's ever said that.
Just waiting on someone to say it.
Thanks for listening. Never. Appreciate it.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll take more of your thoughts on the Annunen and Saros situation, plus another deal yesterday in the National Football League that I frankly am not very excited about. We'll get into that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Boxing fans, 102.5 The Game, Team Boxing League, have your chance to win tickets to see the Nashville Smash take on the Atlanta Attack at Municipal Auditorium on Friday, June the 12th. Text the keyword FIGHT to the game text line at 615-737-1025 to enter for your chance to win. Taking more of your thoughts on our text line. Joe, one texter says, Saros will remain the number one goalie. It's his net to lose. I don't think we can ignore his Olympics performance. While he won bronze, he had the second best save percentage, led all goalies in goals saved above expected. Annunen won gold at IHF, had the fifth best save percentage against weaker competition. I'm not really concerned about like the save percentage part of it. I mean, first off, they're two completely different tournaments. But the bottom, like, I don't even really care about the Olympics or IHF stuff either, other than from Annunen's standpoint. I think it just demonstrates that he's continuing to play well from the end of last regular season. I mean, to me, the thing that still matters the most in this conversation is the Nashville Predators had must-win games to get into the playoffs a few months ago and chose to play Justus Annunen over UC Saros in goal. Like, you know, like that to me still matters the most in this conversation. And I think it shows you that they are open to who is playing better in net other than just what the contract tells you should do in this situation.
Right. Yeah. And it is, look, and the thing is you get the team together, you have training camp, and it may just be clear, like Saros is just superior. I mean, I guess you'd kind of hope so still, right?
Yes.
That'd be good if and then you start playing games. We know Saros is a slow starter traditionally. So that's the thing. Like, given that doubt that you have in your mind, and given, again, doubt, some of it created by Annunen playing so well.
Right.
But given that, Saros has a slow start. Like, I have no doubt. I have very little doubt that all the talk during camp and everything will be, no, it's Juice is the guy. Of course he is, right? That will be the talk. And again, you hope that that's clear on a day-to-day basis as they're doing their work. But if he has that slow start, and if Annunen this is what he is, and he's getting better at his age and everything, well, it shouldn't be long to start pivoting to giving him more opportunities.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about it. So, Joe, some other news in the NFL yesterday. We've gone through the Myles Garrett trade, the A.J. Brown trade. We'll get into more of that with Charles Robinson coming up here in just a few minutes. But Russell Wilson agreeing to a deal to become an analyst at CBS. We've talked about this a few weeks ago, like that being rumored to be out there rather than continuing to play and be a backup quarterback somewhere. Could Russell Wilson get into TV? Well, with Matt Ryan gone to Atlanta, Russell Wilson has finalized a deal to join CBS Sports. I said it a few weeks ago. My opinion on it really hasn't changed. I'm not overly excited about this. Like, I don't know how good Russell Wilson is going to be at this particular job. Frankly, like, he's a little too goofy for my liking in this job. We'll see how it goes. Maybe he ends up being great on CBS. I have no idea. But I saw the news officially yesterday, Joe, and I'm not very excited about it.
I think he'll be better than Matt Ryan and Drew Brees. I don't know that that's necessarily all that high of a bar. Matt Ryan was better than Drew Brees, by the way. But I think he'll be okay. I think I think at this point, I'd rather watch him analyze other quarterbacks than play the game. So it doesn't mean that he's going to be great at it or anything, but I think it's okay. We'll see. I think he's got a chance. I'm just disappointed that he got this head start, because he and Kirk Cousins have been grappling for 15 years, going back to their Big Ten, when they were the best two teams in the Big Ten. And now Russell gets the head start on the broadcasting career. I mean, we need Kirk to have his fun little season with his little buddy Fernando, and then get out there and take over the top color analyst job in the NFL. By the way, did you see who won the Emmy? It is
no.
an Emmy, right? Oh yeah,
Olsen.
Greg Olsen, baby. Yeah, as he should have,
not
as
Brady?
Others should not have. So
yeah, take note, Tommy.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I would have voted for Brady.
Do you? Well, you're just trolling. You wouldn't have voted for Brady. Who are the top? So Olsen, I think, clearly is the best.
Well, Romo's still up there.
I still like Romo.
Eh.
Yeah, Robbie's kind of down on Romo.
Aikman,
And a lot of people
right?
are.
Well, the big crews, right? The top crews. Aikman.
Aikman's fine.
I think Aikman is better than Brady.
Of course you do.
Well, I mean, do you not?
I think they're pretty comparable.
I mean, Brady's gotten better.
I think Aikman's
give
gotten
him-
worse since they've gone to Monday Night Football. I'll put it that way.
Okay. Are we hating Collinsworth? I mean, I mean, the thing is, people, and there's no doubt, like sometimes like Patrick Mahomes, oh my God, and I get all that. I still think Collinsworth is entertaining at times, and I think he has some good analysis. Like
he's fine.
I'd take him over Brady. I would take Brady over Jason Witten.
That's good. It's good to know.
There we go.
You take Brady over Adam Archuleta. That's good.
Archuleta's fine. That's about what he is. He's Adam Archuleta. But, he was Tom Brady's a player, so we treat him like he's, John Madden.
Let me ask you this. Russell Wilson. Is he a Hall of Famer?
Wow.
Long pause.
Yeah,
I mean, he's a Super Bowl champion,
Super Bowl
a 10-time Pro
champion.
Bowler.
How many?
10 times. Now, I know the Pro Bowl.
Yeah. But like a lot of those are like legitimately he was a pro. He's a really interesting case. I mean, I look at it a little bit like Eli Manning in terms of, I don't think during Russell there were some times when it was like, is he going to be the MVP during his career, stuff like that. He was in there. I don't know. Like, I don't know off the top of my head, like how close did he come to getting an MVP ever? Was he a top 5 vote getter?
I don't think he may have been a top 5 vote getter a couple of times, but I don't know that he ever was like that close. There were a few years where if you would have taken the poll halfway through the year, he would have won a couple of times. Yeah, like from 2015 until about 2020, maybe 2021, he was pretty darn good. Like if you go back and look at the numbers from about 2015 to 2021, he had a 6-year period where he was really, really good.
And yet, there are people who contest the Eli thing with the argument, and I've heard PK make it. At no point during his era was he one of the absolute top guys. There was always a tier ahead of him, and I think that's true of Russell. And the thing about Eli is he beat Brady twice in the Super Bowl, and I think his overall accumulation of stats is quite a bit larger than Russ's too, right? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not maybe there's not that big of a difference. But I mean, he's got the 2 Super Bowl wins over one of the best quarterbacks in AFC East history.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no.
Let me ask you this. If Pete Carroll turns around and hands the ball off to Marshawn Lynch and they win that Super Bowl and he gets 2 Super Bowls, is he a Hall of Famer?
Maybe. And as stupid as it is to say that because it has nothing to do with him, except that, he did throw the pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. And then you have 2 and one of them is over Brady. Thanks a lot, Pete.
I think it's pretty close. Like when you go back and look at it, I mean, the thing is, like the end of his career, like it failed so spectacularly when he went to Denver, and then you get into Pittsburgh and New York, and he's just a shell of himself at those 2 stops. But when he
that
was
happens
traded
all the time, though.
from Seattle to Denver, his last year in Seattle was 2021. He threw for 3,100 yards, 25 touchdowns, 6 picks in 14 games. Like he was still pretty darn good player. And then you get into Denver and you start to hear about, he's got his own office, and apparently everybody in Seattle that ever played with him didn't like him all that much. Like it just started it went the other way on him once he got to Denver. But I do think people forget, like for a long stretch of time, how good he was in Seattle. He was really good. I think it's pretty close.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is close. To me, like him getting in would be like I'm not infuriated if it happens, but I think it's a little bit of I just think it's just not quite exclusive enough if he does.
Yeah, I'm not convinced that I would vote yes. I just think it's worthy of a conversation. Like that's a lot of people on the text line are saying he's like Hall of very good, but a couple of
Yeah.
people saying like
Yeah.
the end of the career tarnished the overall career. I'm very interested to see if he gets in. He's certainly not going to be a first ballot guy or anything like that.
And it doesn't help him, like some of this stuff that came out. And again, it's on him. But some of the stuff that Marshawn Lynch and some of these guys said about him after the fact,
they did not like
it changes the way his Seattle tenure is viewed. Because you're right, he was freaking good. But then you hear this stuff, and it's like, I mean, you want your quarterback to be like, they should be the ultimate leader in a locker room, and he obviously wasn't. So that might hurt.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll have the Rex rant coming up next. Charles Robinson will be with us at 8 o'clock. All that coming up. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at 1025 The Game for live shows and exclusive content as well. You can join our ever popular YouTube chat on there as well. We'll have the Rex rant up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment. Let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant, now on Robby and Rexrode.
A.J. freaking Przinsky.
Hey guys, the greatest player ever. People are yelling at Rexrode on the text line. Also nicknamed Dr. Sex.
Got to get the blood flowing again down there.
Love ball, love ball, love ball. Real mature, Mike. Real mature.
Think like a dude, think like an athlete, think like a grown man, and then you'll think how I'm thinking.
No, he will absolutely take a dump on that field. Hey, guys, you guys need a plumber?
Win one for the Pekka.
What are you talking about, hockey right now? What are you doing?
The untouchable Pekka.
It is time for the Rex Rant, brought to you by Rapid Response Generators. Power when it matters most, and served by the Wine Cellar in Hendersonville. Oh, there's some good ones in there that take me back. Good stuff, Ian.
Mining for gold. So much to be found. Oh, that Pekka.
Think
day.
like a man.
You are not like a man. God. Thanks, Vrabel. Tell us more about acting like a man. Okay.
Yeah, you know, in retrospect, those comments are
Yeah, you can do a lot of stuff in retrospect.
a lot of stuff with that.
Speaking of which, Stilly, often useless, sometimes found on Jason Whitlock's show, has texted me, and I must say, I got to tip the cap to Stilly. He gave me a side-by-side of Eli and Russ. I mean, Russ actually blows him out of the water. Not in total pass yards. Yeah, not in total pass yards. Like, rating is like 99.3 to 84.1. I mean, look at so TDs, Russ, 353 to 114, TD interception. Yep. Eli, 366 to 244.
Eli threw a lot of picks.
My God. I mean, completion percentage, 4% better. Yards per attempt, 7.7 to 7 flat. Whew, okay. I got to say, I mean, if Eli's in, you probably have to put him in. So that's an interesting topic. So thank you for being useful, Stilly. Now I'm going to get to a top 5 list, Robbie. I got a top 5.
Okay.
We got to hit this quickly. This is me being triggered today. I think he's triggered me before in the exact same thing. Chip from Mount Juliet with, and I'll get to that because I think now I've got it number 1 on my most infuriating Titan fan narratives that need to die. And this is from recent times, okay?
Okay.
Number 5. The Titans blew it by letting Derrick Henry go. 2 things there. First of all, pretty sure he wanted to go, okay?
Yeah.
And he was ready. Second of all, let's think about his performance during that last season here. He has been fantastic in Baltimore. It's a great situation. Somebody on this station said Baltimore is where he should go. It's an incredible with him and Lamar. You're going to have space that he has not had here in a while, and it's worked out exactly that way. The bottom line for this team would not be any different, or it would be minor. It'd be minor difference, and it might even be bad for his career. So no, let it go. He had an incredible run here. The timing was exactly right. Number 4, John Robinson wasn't a good GM. He was second best GM in Titans history. He was great early. He was bad late. Both of those things are true. The overall sum of everything is he was a good GM. You're talking about a AFC title game, and you're talking about a number 1 seed, on his watch. Number 3, who cares if Amy talks? I mean, this one drives me crazy, man. Yes, it absolutely matters. It's true some owners don't talk. It's true. It's a lot more important that your football team is good. And there's nothing a suit can do that's more important than like the football players playing well and winning games. But when you have an owner who doesn't live in your city, who just got the most public money ever to build a stadium, and you have a product this bad, and she's so directly involved in the product being this bad, yeah, you need to show your customers that you care enough to speak on decisions. I can't stand that one. Number 2, Ryan Tannehill wasn't a good quarterback. Yes, he freaking was. I mean, this is right there close for number 1 for me. As you know, Robbie, I mean, I've lost my mind on this many times. He was great in 2019. He was great in 2020. That word applies to his performance in both of those years. Yes, he had Derrick Henry. Yep, he had A.J. Brown too. I mean, again, this usually goes hand in hand in this league when we talk about great quarterbacks, is that there's somebody else on their team who helps make them look better. So he was great in those years. And then he took a little step back in 21, and we know what happened at the end of that year, and then it all unraveled. But that's the best quarterback play the Titans have had. That is a high bar, that level of quarterback play, and we continue to wait here in 2026 for anyone to approach that. And number one, I'm going to go with this because Chip from Mount Juliet just triggered me today and started this whole thing. So let me find his initial text today, which was, A.J. Brown has talent, but it's all drama. 2 teams have seen this. Now, this is not that big of it. He just said 2 teams have seen this. But I said, when? When did the Titans see this? And now he goes into, the grievances with management. I don't care. Or Debo Samuels. I don't care. A.J. Brown was not a problem in the Titans locker room. He was not drama here. He was drama with ownership and front office to pay him the freaking money that they should have damn well paid him. They screwed it up. He didn't screw it up. They screwed it up. It's one of the worst moves in the franchise history, and he was not any sort of problem in the locker room. I promise you that every single guy on that team was rooting for him to get paid and rooting for him to come back and be on their team, and was pissed off just like everybody else should have been when he got traded in a terrible, terrible trade, which, of course, does affect John Robinson's legacy. He was drama with the Eagles, all that stuff with him and Jalen Hurts at the sideline, the book, all that stuff. None of that was here, and yet people want to remember it. They want to misremember it and go back in time and, oh, a drama here. That's not true. Stop it. That's it. That's my top 5.
Chip from Mount Juliet says, "Dang, Joe."
I'm sorry, Chip. I'm sorry, Chip. I had to put you on blast, man. I had to put you on blast. Yeah. He's like, he was tweeting with Debo, deleting him again. I'm like, great. So he pissed off the general manager. He pissed off Amy. Who cares? I don't care. That's what happens. Players trying to get paid. And, oh, my God, we can't give A.J. $25 million. I mean, imagine that right now. Think about that. An absolute malpractice situation for the Titans. That's what it was.
I still remember the day after they did that. One of the greatest shows we've ever had. I don't think I've ever seen you so mad in my life. And I've seen you mad about a lot of things. Long fuse. The fuse was short that day.
I mean, the night before I wrote just an absolute, just an angry, just a total tantrum. It was like a tantrum in writing. And then I had a tantrum for 3 hours on here. Sometimes I'm right. Sometimes not.
The number 1 free agent in the National Football League, Charles Robinson, will join us coming up next. We'll get his thoughts on Myles Garrett, his thoughts on the A.J. Brown trade, all that more coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Final hour, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Tuesday morning. Doing some shuffling this week, and we are happy to welcome in our friend Charles Robinson to the program on a Tuesday, early in the week. Charles, this week we head to our phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Charles, good morning. How are you?
What's going on, gentlemen? I heard you talking this morning about your well, not Robby. Robby and his great health can go ahead and stick it in his ear, and us old men will we're gonna continue to complain about the tweaks and the creaks. And I have this thing where if I get really deep into writing, or if I'm like really hyper focused on something, when I sit at my desk, I have no idea why I do it, but I scoot forward on my chair and I almost sit in like a catcher's stance. Yeah. And I have terrible knees. And then all of a sudden, after like 4 or 5 hours of being in that posture and not realizing I did it, because I just get so hyper focused on things, I go to stand up and I realize like I like tore like my MCL. like it happens I can't tell you how many times I get yelled at about it, because I come downstairs like limping, and it's like, you sat at your desk wrong forever, right? You did it again.
Wow.
Like, yeah,
I mean, yeah, it's kind of impressive you could sit there for that long.
That sounds terrible. It's better than gout, though.
Completely zone out on it. So better than gout, better than sciatica. So
that's true.
You might get sciatica from that.
You might.
Yeah, maybe it's possible. Oh man.
Oh boy. So Charles, obviously a huge day in the NFL yesterday. Let's start on the Myles Garrett front. So number one, how did this trade from Cleveland to LA come to be? And number two, now that it's happened, what do you think this does for the LA Rams as it relates to the conversation in the NFC?
Well, first and foremost, like, let me tell you about LA. Like, they have been buyers. They have been shopping like crazy, just not closing things, right? Like, they were absolutely interested in A.J. Brown. I think they just felt like the cost was too prohibitive, and obviously we'll talk about what that cost ended up being. You can see why that deal, maybe didn't happen for the Rams, but I think had that taken place, then I think there would have been, Devontae Adams could have potentially gotten shopped by them, and so they've been thinking through some different trade scenarios. I know that they've wanted to add, Myles for quite a while now. And I think for Cleveland, it was, let's see what the landscape brings us. I think when they did the contract tweak with Myles, and then there was a lot of like, well, this doesn't mean, it doesn't mean anything. We're not going to trade. I mean, yeah, it just was, the tweak was the kind of thing where you're like, why would you do it if you didn't want to give yourself the ability to potentially move him? But there were also other moving parts. Myles could nix any trade. He had the ability in his contract to decide whether or not he was willing to, be traded to any team out there. So for it skinnied the suitors. It wasn't just any team that could come to the table and offer something. Myles was only going to go someplace where he was going to have an opportunity to win a title. I know, LA was certainly one of those teams that would have been on that short list. And approaching it from the Rams, let me give you the quick kind of macro view on this. For the Rams, you're sitting there and you're saying, we're going to maximize Matthew Stafford as much as we can for the next 2 years. Trent McDuffie, like, we've added these pieces to make sure we're absolutely going for it. We took Ty Simpson so that we don't fall off a cliff in 2028. Like, we assume we're going to get through the next 2 years with Matthew Stafford in this roster. We've now, the way that the Rams have built in the past, they have felt where, like, when they built their first championship team, they thought of the team in terms of pillars. And they're like, we have 4 pillars here. We have Sean McVay, we have Matthew Stafford, we have Cooper Kupp, we have Aaron Donald. And whenever I would spend time with them, the thought process was, we're not really in a reboot until we lose at least 2 of those pillars. So what happens? They lose Aaron Donald. Cooper Kupp, shifts, like, kind of, there's a downshift in his career. And that's when the thinking starts, like, how can we refresh and not completely pivot out of this? Well, we still have the 2 guys together that are the most key in being able to do a fast reboot. Sean McVay, Matthew Stafford. And this is it. This is the end of kind of that little micro reboot, because Puka Nacua has risen into that Cooper Kupp role. So that's the third pillar back in place. And now Myles Garrett replaces, Aaron Donald as that fourth pillar. And they've gotten younger on defense. So there's just, the backfield depth is good. I think they still would like to be able to accentuate the wide receiving core, really find a third, player. But I think what they'll do in the aggregate with all their tight ends, they're going to run a lot of 2 tight end sets and try to be creative that way. So from a build standpoint, it's about, this 2-year window. And also, and no one's reporting this, but I'm going to tell you, this is part of this. There's a creeping thought in their minds where they're like, we're really looking at, we want to win a title, if not 2 titles the next 2 seasons, but we have a 38-year-old quarterback. There was serious concern about his back coming into last season. What if we make it to, let's say, the NFC title game again, and, we hit snake eyes against the Seahawks again? What if we crap out again? And then you're going to have to go into the off season recruiting Stafford, saying, hey, stick around. We know you don't need the money in 2027. Obviously, we gave you the money. Now they have another person in that building who is going to be a major draw for players to come to LA. There are going to be other players who are tight with Myles Garrett, who look at this as a super team, who after, the 2026 season are going to say, hey man, I got to get over there, especially if it's kind of guys who are aging out and they're still a little bit in their prime. They're going to say, how can I get on that roster? And also, it's a recruiting tool for Matthew Stafford. For Myles Garrett is going to be like, hey man, stick around. Like let's do this. This wasn't about 1 year. Come on, let's so if they win the Super Bowl, or they don't win the Super Bowl. And by the way, it also works if they win the Super Bowl, because I think the Rams have felt if Stafford wins a Super Bowl, he could do the Elway. He could be like, all right, I'm good. I won my second one. Like, this is the perfect time to roll out. I think they want him to stick around. And I think Myles Garrett's going to be a big, recruiting piece for them, moving forward. So it's just about extending that window. He's 30, feasibly, given the shape that he's in. I mean, he's like the Wembanyama of the NBA. Like, physically, that dude, who knows? It could be a Reggie White situation where we see him play at a top end where Reggie White could have probably played, till he's mid 40s, and hitting double digit sacks. Like, this guy is potentially the same kind of thing. And for Cleveland, I know fans in Cleveland are losing their minds, and it's tough, and I get it, because you're trading like a really just an iconic player of a guy who could probably win the defensive player of the year the next couple of years too. All-time, single game sack leader. There's just and he's a great teammate. But I think for the Browns, I had a chance to talk with the Browns shortly after the draft, and just sort of understanding, how the draft fit into what they're doing. And I think internally the Browns still feel like, okay, we're one more off season away from completing this build. And fans have to understand, until you have the quarterback position resolved. I know this sucks. I know it's so frustrating, but it's the truth. Until you have the quarterback meaningfully resolved, your build is not complete. You will always be an incomplete team if you have an inferior quarterback room, or at least don't have someone who can rise out of it and be a top 12 to top 14 quarterback. And even then, you have to build a roster around a player so completely that you can actually contend for a Super Bowl. They're nowhere close to that right now. So the Browns are sitting there going, hey, the rest of the team's pretty good. We just had another good draft. We're getting younger. We're lining the talent roster, and we've seen proven results. I think the Browns went into this saying, if we're going to trade Myles Garrett, there's a couple of things we need. Number one, we need another draft asset in 2027, which will give us, if in the first round, which will give us some flexibility. If we have to choose a quarterback next year, we need more than one first round pick. Even if the second pick's the end of the first round, that draft is deep enough that it will matter. Okay. If it's the 32nd pick, it won't be a normal 32nd pick. That's how deep this draft will be. Plus you get additional assets in 2028, you get a second, 2029, you get a third. So you're adding other draft assets as well. And here's the thing about Jared Verse. Jared Verse is a better asset than more draft picks, because he's 25. He's proven. He's gotten pressures. He plays the run. I think he will finish sacks. They're like, he is a proven commodity who we know can play in this league. And he's not rounded into what he's going to be yet. And so even for the Rams to trade Jared Verse because of the window they're in, and I tried to make this point yesterday and Browns fans lost their mind. The Rams would never have traded Jared Verse. I think even if a team had offered them 2 first-round picks, they would have had to be high first-round picks because the Rams would have said, we don't need picks right now. We're in our window. He's way more valuable to us now on our roster than any picks. If we're going to trade Jared Verse, we need a superstar back. We need a stud coming back in. So to the Rams, they valued him as 2 first-round picks. So they, in the Rams' mind, they're saying, okay, well, we offloaded a player who we believe is worth two first-round picks, a 2027 first-round pick, a second-round pick, a third-round pick. That's the haul the Rams feel like they're giving up. And then I think conversely, the Browns sit there and say, we got a proven player who we know is going to come in. He's ascending. He's young. We have 3 years of contract control. And now we have the draft asset in 2027 to give us flexibility if we get into that position of needing to select a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great breakdown. I like it. I like it for both, really a lot.
I do too.
So they one of the popular things floating around out there, Charles. You can either, add oxygen or just dunk on this. Aaron Donald. Is this just like internet folly?
The workout video.
Well, the idea of Aaron Donald. What was it? Well, I guess Trey Wingo tweeted something like, "Ooh,
Yeah. Well, I saw the whole workout, thing that, first off, Aaron Donald posts workout videos like fairly regularly when if you've paid attention across the board to his workout like his platforms, like it's not unusual, particularly in the off season.
Retired old man workout videos. This is a good idea.
Yeah. And I mean, he is a Garrett type though. When you look at him physically, you're like, man, that guy's going to, he probably could pick it up in June and go, yeah, I'll come to camp and I will be a dominant, interior defensive player immediately once again. And I don't even know. I mean, I can't even, it's like night terrors imagining Aaron Donald and Myles Garrett standing next to each other as you're walking to the line for an offense, right? You're like, this is just, you might as well put 2 tanks next to each other on the end of the line and go, all right, well, how are we going to do this? I don't think I highly doubt it. Now that said, I know the Rams would certainly, if they felt like there was a chance to get Aaron Donald back in the fold, they would absolutely pursue that. They would. And, the trick would be, how would you do it financially? There's a lot of money on the cap. Like you would certainly have to figure out how you would do it financially. Knowing the Rams, knowing some of those veteran players, I almost wonder, if there were veterans on the Rams roster who thought it was possible, I can guarantee you this: they would go, "Hey, we'll restructure. Like we'll figure out a way to restructure. Like whatever. Like what's the hole that needs to be created?" And the Rams have a really good, front office. They have a great caps. Their cap team's awesome. They've been through this before.
They have a cap team. Oh wow, interesting.
Yeah. Oh, geez.
Yeah, teams have that.
And
they?
Like, it's a scenario I'm sure they would love to invite. I just would not. I think a lot of this right now is driven by the videos and stuff. Yeah. And I don't want to say it's a pure coincidence, but I have not heard that Aaron Donald is unhappy in retirement up until this point. But adding a player like Myles Garrett, that can be kind of the I don't know, man. There is a fragrance to that is very, it's a draw.
You didn't dump cold water on this. I thought you might. I'm intrigued now.
And the reason why I say this is particularly over the years, it's anytime you watch someone walk away in their elite years when they're still at the top of the pile, and also a person like Aaron Donald, when you've seen him physically over the years, where you're like, man, this is just nuts. Like, this is crazy. Like how this guy keeps himself in shape and how hard he works in the off season. I can't absolutely refuse the idea that Myles Garrett makes a call, Matthew Stafford makes a call, Les Snead, Sean McVay, like everybody's like, hey man, it's gotta be a way. Like, let's, we're all in right now. Like let's put the band back together, at least with you, and kind of see where it goes. So I doubt it. I highly doubt it. But I will say this: I hope I am completely wrong. And I think the only person who truthfully has the answer to that is Aaron Donald, in terms of whether he would even consider it.
So, Charles, A.J. Brown to the Patriots, and one of the worst kept secrets in the league over the last couple of months. How much of a needle mover is this for New England, and how do you think this affects Philadelphia on the field not having him?
For the Patriots, it's they've needed, particularly with Stephon Diggs, departing, they've needed that. They needed a dude. They needed the guy where it's like, hey, we're in a third and 8 situation. We're not sitting here going, well, it's not a good thing for an offense to sit there and go, well, we're in 3rd and 8. Like, what do we have that's the best 3rd and 8? You want to go, what do we have that's the best 3rd and 8? Also, what do we want to do with AJ? Like, you want to have a player. It's that whole, think players, not plays. Like, it's a huge cliche, but realistically, that is something that I think New England adds with this, where you get him back in the fold. I don't know the ball game now for A.J. Brown. I would say when you look at it structurally from a contract standpoint, he's definitely going to be on the roster the next 2 years. What is he going to look like physically? I think the detractors, the people who look at that trade and go, why would you go up a first round pick for a receiver who's this close to 30? And they say, well, his separation isn't as good as it used to be. Like, is he starting to decline? How many targets can he ultimately handle without worrying about any kind of injuries? Is he going to be a malcontent, whatever, because of what happened at the end in Philly? I don't think there's a lot of that worry right now, for the Patriots. I think they feel like he's healthy. Mike Vrabel's got the relationship with him long-term, which helps. The quarterback fits what A.J. Brown, at least historically, has been able to do in terms of, the deeper routes. And that's, Drake May is one of the best in the league at throwing a deep ball. There's just a lot of this that works together nicely. Now, to give up a first, the fact that they did it in 2028 that's the brain move, because we know the schedule, what it was in 2025. There is still a creeping chance that in 2026 they come back to earth. It was like watching the Washington Commanders in 2024 go all the way to the NFC title game, and then there's injuries and other things happen and they crash in 2025, 2025. The same thing could happen with the Patriots. They could hit a tougher schedule, they could have injuries, and then that 2027 pick, all of a sudden you're like, wow, what were you thinking giving it up for A.J. Brown? Well, they've preserved that in a great draft. They've kept the asset that was the most important. The bill comes due in 2028, but okay, you can worry about that down the line, and also begin to gather other talent in the interim to make up for, having that lost capital. So, I think for New England, it makes sense. It's what we've talked about. I mean, we've wasted, so much oxygen on this thing knowing it was going to happen. Not a shocker in any way, shape, or form. And I think, for the Eagles as well, even though the first round pick is in 2028, to get that a first and a fifth for AJ at this stage in his career, particularly, by the way, knowing and having prepared to get him off the roster and knowing that there really was no path to return, to get a first out of that is pretty impressive. And I swear, I will tell you, when it first became clear they were going to shop him, it was so hard to find anybody in the league. And I knew at that time they wanted a first out of him. I mean, so many front offices that I talked to just killed that idea. They were like, a first, like, for what he is now, for what his age is he really healthy? Is he in a state of decline? Like, there were so many questions about that, but for them to, for Howie Roseman to put it together and really get a first out of him, even if it ends up being a late first, I still think it's a coup for Philly.
All right, Russell Wilson going to TV. Is he going to be good on TV? But more importantly, Charles, is Russell Wilson a Hall of Famer?
Is he going to be good on TV? I'm sure I've said it on the show because it's like my classic line with Russ all the years. Anytime you would talk to Russ, I always called him the vending machine quote, where you're like, press C3 and you're going to get I want the C3 of answers. And Russ will be like, hey, so when you want your teammates, like, this is most real
blah, blah, blah. And here's a Nestle Crunch.
Yeah. It's just like, oh my God, man. I don't know. I mean, I remember when he went on the Manning cast, probably I want to say it was 2 years ago. It's hard for me to remember exactly when it was. He was good. He kind of ripped guys. Like he was critical of what he watched on the show. And I thought to myself then, where I'm like, okay, where's this Russ when you need to talk to, I don't need Danger Russ. I don't need like Let's Ride Russ or that guy. Like I need like this guy who's going to be openly critical about what he sees in front of him. If he can bring that to TV, that would be great, because I think that's still one of those things that, you listen to Tom Brady and you're like, let's get as much authenticity as possible. I think Tom's certainly gotten there. So it's worth a look. We'll see. I don't know. I think a lot of people have feelings about Russ as a player, have feelings about like, is he just kind of like a corny robotic dude? And is that what he's going to bring to a show? I don't know that that's necessarily married to how he might be able to function as an analyst, and it'll be, worth watching in terms of like a Hall of Fame career. I think he is. And, is he kind of on the edge? Yeah. I mean, he did win a Super Bowl. It wasn't the only Super Bowl he played in. I feel like he got robbed, even though he did throw the interception. It was a terrible coaching call in the moment when you're not handing the ball off to Marshawn Lynch. He should have 2 rings. He should have never been put into a situation where there was any kind of a slant pass thrown at goal line. And so,
God, that's the worst coaching move ever.
It's the worst. It like literally between Pete Carroll and Darrell Bevell, I will never understand, and neither will most Patriots players who were in that moment.
Yeah, Tom Brady on the sideline. Yes, I won again by sitting here. Thank you.
Literally, I remember I screamed, "What!" Like when it happened, I was sitting next to Dan Wetzel, and we're like in a fight. We're reading our stuff, and we're like, "Yeah, wow, Seahawks won." The Patriots go down, and it happened, and I was so angry. You throw out all the work you just did, and I remembered beelining it straight to the Seahawks press conference because I just wanted to hear. I'm like, what is Pete gonna say? Like, what is this? And what is Marshawn gonna say? Like, this is crazy. Yeah. What's Richard Sherman gonna say? Pure devastation. But I mean, I still look at that as the game that Russ will never get any credit for it because of that last moment. But the truth is, he should have won a Super Bowl. It should have been the right call, and it wasn't. And I think he's a Hall of Famer, I guess, is what I'm saying. I heard you guys kind of talking about him, he and Eli, and I don't think that's certainly not an apples to apples comparison between the two guys. I think Russ was a much better player, particularly at his height, was a much more efficient, was a much more, when you just talk about the accuracy, the shots they would take, his efficiency, the way he played the game. Like Eli was awesome in some great playoff moments, but he turned the ball over a lot. And I think that is certainly something that will always kind of dog him a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised though if eventually they both end up in the Hall of Fame.
Well, if he had his own office, Russell did, will he campaign for like his own wing in the Hall of Fame? How do we think that goes over?
Come on. Of course.
Yes.
We need to just blow out another side of the wall over here, and this is where you can put me.
Yeah.
By the way, ESPN just showed the play, and Tom Brady, oh, yay, I win. I'm the best.
Yeah. Hey, I've seen all the explanations of how Tom was never responsible for any of the 7 Super Bowls he won to the fans who hate him are like, let me show you why Tom didn't
That's
really
Joe.
win 7 Super Bowls.
Nah, he was a really good quarterback.
Yeah. I real quick, let me tell you a super quick story. So yesterday I'm talking to Stacey James, the head of PR for the Patriots. Like, I've been talking to teams, and I'm kind of, I'm setting up like a camp tour. And so Stacey James calls me. Obviously, he had known that, I'd parted company with Yahoo. And so he calls me, answer the phone, and Stacey, obviously we know what's been going on with the Patriots this off season. And he calls me, and I answer the phone. I say, "Hey, what's up?" I said, "How you doing?" And he goes, "Well, I think I'm probably doing better than you at the moment." And I go, "Just barely." I'm like, "Hey, man, consider your off season." I'm like, "This is you're just barely doing better than I am right now." But
It's debatable.
Close.
You think that moment with Brady and all that, but I sat there and I thought, this dude has seen Orchids of Asia with his boss, with Robert Kraft. He's seen Deflategate, Spygate, Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah. Good grief.
I mean, like it's insane the number of things. Bill showing up on a ring cam without a shirt.
Yes.
Like his head coach and his literally arguably the greatest coach in history, arguably the greatest quarterback in history, having a divorce in their final season. Inside the building, and then even years before that, the whole Jimmy Garoppolo thing when they were at odds, and I'm like, man, this guy's seen. I
Seen it all, man. It's crazy.
Book, you gotta let me do the book, man. I'm like, please. At one point, when Belichick got I think it was the Presidential Medal of Freedom from Donald Trump during the first time, Trump's first administration, there was this Bill's probably gotta not accept it at this time. This is in terms of distraction. So how do you do that? How do you do that as a PR, a head PR person who's been there 20 years?
Yeah.
You're trying to convince Bill Belichick just turn down this presidential honor. It's really in our best interest. Yeah, good luck with that. And that's not even counting the day-to-day.
Exactly.
They've
Just
had a run.
wild.
Had a hell of a run.
They have, no doubt about it. Charles, thank you, sir. As always, appreciate you taking time to be with us this week, and have fun this weekend. We'll talk to you next week.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys. Take care.
Absolutely. Charles Robinson, our guest here on the program. We will react to what Charles had to say, take your thoughts on the Myles Garrett and A.J. Brown trades, all that and more coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby and Rexrode, presented by Green Ventures Landscaping. Property managers, if you manage it, they maintain it. Visit greenventureslandscaping.com. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios. Home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Appreciate Charles Robinson for being with us in the last segment. Joe, what a day yesterday in the NFL. Myles Garrett to the LA Rams in a blockbuster deal, sending Jared Verse back the other way to the Browns. Rams also send a first rounder, a second rounder, and a third rounder back to the Cleveland Browns. But now you've got Myles Garrett on an LA Rams team that was already probably second best team in the league last year. You've got Matthew Stafford, just won league MVP. You've got Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua. You traded for Trent McDuffie earlier this offseason, and now the Rams are absolutely loaded heading into the 2026 NFL season. What do you think of Myles Garrett to the LA Rams, and what do you make of kind of how Charles laid that all out?
Yeah, obviously this is going to be a trade that we're going to track closely, and I think it's one of the biggest trades. We've had some doozies. I'm old enough to remember Herschel Walker to the Vikings back then, which made a Cowboys dynasty, by the way. But I mean, this is one of the big ones, and I right now I love it for both teams. Certainly for the Rams, like you can't. I mean, this guy's the ultimate game wrecker right now. He's the scariest, best defensive player in the league, and they just landed him and added him to a loaded team, giving up a younger, very good, promising player who I think is going to be a really good pass rusher for a long time in this league. But you're talking about bringing in a guy in his prime, 30 years old, at the top of his game, and just a chance to load up. I thought a lot of the stuff Charles said too last segment was really interesting. I hadn't thought of it that way, but you think about you're probably going to have to, no matter what happens this year, you probably are going to have to talk Matthew Stafford into staying. He doesn't, I mean, it's like, do you want to go through this again? And Garrett helps, and Garrett helps with other guys too. And that is an underrated part of, I think, sometimes, landing a player like that is when it comes down to other players and like free agents making choices, that gets like some people are like, you know what, I might take a little less to go there, or whatever it is, or I just might choose there. I love it for them, but I think the Browns have got a haul, including Verse. And Verse is going to be, he may not be Myles Garrett there, and he may not be the guy everybody in that stadium in that godforsaken city is wearing this jersey, but he's going to be a really good player, and they got draft capital, and they've got to, they got to be in position to go get their QB in this next draft. And now they are in a stronger position with another pick.
You'll be stunned to know that the LA Rams are Super Bowl favorites on FanDuel Sportsbook to win the championship at plus 550. The next best odds are the Bills at plus 1,000. So you're talking plus 550 for the Rams, plus 1,000 for the Bills. That's a massive favorite heading into a year, Joe, to be to win the Super Bowl.
That is.
But I get it.
Yeah, that is. And honestly, like, I wouldn't have necessarily picked the Bills as the second best odds,
Bills, Seahawks, and Ravens are kind of all right there together.
Okay. Interesting. But yeah, like the NFC, there's a clear number one. And, really, I mean, I would look at probably the Rams and Seahawks and say, they probably look better than anybody in the AFC at this point. Although I think Bills and Ravens both, like, if things break their way, both could be really good. But the major changes for both too. And the Rams are just loading up. So that's a really interesting thing. I'd love to know on beginning of June, how many years is there that much disparity between favorite and then the next team? I bet you it doesn't happen often like that.
Probably not very often, especially to that degree. And then there's A.J. Brown to the Patriots, which is we've known that's coming for a couple of months here. Now, what version of A.J. Brown is he? I'm really interested to see. Like, if he's healthy this year, can he still be a 1,400 yard guy? Like, is that what he is at this stage of his career? I mean, people keep talking about, like, I'm not really all that surprised they ended up getting a first round pick for him. I mean, he is 28 years old. I mean, I would be 29 here in a few weeks, but to your point, it's not like he's had some major injury. He's had some nagging things that have been there, but he's not had like just some major injury that he's trying to make his way back from. And you heard Charles say it, the Patriots feel like he's healthy and he's ready to go. I think he's going to play pretty well there in New England.
I think he's going to have a big year because it's just absolutely, I'm going to show you, I'm going to come out of this Eagle situation and show that it was me. I was being underutilized, or you guys weren't doing enough to maximize what I am as a player. He loves Vrabel. He's got a good quarterback throwing the ball to him. I think he's going to have a really good year. It's really interesting, though, from Charles as well on that, about how many teams around the league are like, first rounder. Yeah. Because even though the injury he's never had a serious one, how much has he been diminished? How much slower is he now than he was even like 2-3 years ago? Yeah. I mean, I think we've seen a little bit. I think we've seen him slow down a little bit. I mean, he's 4th in the NFL since he came into the NFL in both yardage and touchdowns. I mean, he's been one of the elite guys, but that includes, like sort of the down year last year when a lot of things were just not clicking with the Eagles. But I think he's going to be motivated not just to prove that he's still a great player and that, that the Eagles screwed it up more than he did. I think also I think he's probably motivated to show, all this stuff with me it was Jalen was just as much. So now I get away from him and I'm not that guy. Because again, as I said earlier in the rant, it's just not accurate to say that he was any sort of a locker room issue here. He was not at all.
615-737-1025, our phone number. Final segment coming up next. More of your reaction to the Myles Garrett and A.J. Brown trades yesterday in the National Football League. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Final segment of the day, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game, taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. Some differing thoughts out there on the return that the Browns got back in the Myles Garrett trade. To me, a lot of that depends on how you view Jared Verse, Joe. Like, if you view him how the Rams apparently viewed him, according to Charles, which is basically worth 2 first-round picks.
Yeah.
And then you offer an additional first-round pick. Well, then that's one thing, right? I don't know that I view him as 2 first-round picks, but I do think there's something to be said about you're talking about a guy that is young, is a proven player in the NFL, is going to be productive provided he stays healthy in Cleveland. Like, there's a lot of value in that. Is it worth 2 first-round picks? I don't know. It's also the Cleveland Browns selecting those first-round picks, which has not gone well for them historically. So I'd rather have Jared Verse.
That's a very good point too. Yeah, look, I mean, I think that he's going to be a top 10. I'm comfortable, I think, saying top 10 edge guy for several years to come. 25 years old. You know, he was defensive rookie of the year in 24. He had 4.5 sacks. Last year he had 7. He went up to 7.5 sacks. Got 12 in 2 years. Again, he's not Myles Garrett. No one's Myles Garrett, but they're going to have a very productive player for a long time there, barring some kind of unforeseen injury. And then so I take Charles's word on the reporting on the Rams. Like, they weren't going to trade him unless it's something crazy like this, you know? And I'm sure it was like, if you're the Rams, like, you had something really special with that young. I mean, that's how they quickly came back to prominence, right? Along with Puka. Yeah. You know, I mean, like, some of these choices they've made, tremendous, that's the thing. They're always like, fart those picks. It's like, yeah, but you guys are really good at drafting. So, you know, but regardless, they've got themselves a freaking wagon of a team. But I think the Browns are in good shape now. You got a second and a third in coming years. You get Verse, he's going to be a very good player for you. And you're in position now, after what will be a very bad year, to, you know, you got 2 firsts, and you're going to be able to get yourself your next attempt at a franchise quarterback. And if you hit there, then this trade people will look back and it'll be like, yeah, they did pretty well. Now, if they blow it on the quarterback, then, I mean, that's the thing. Like Charles says, like, ultimately, like, you have to figure that out.
Well, I'm interested to see in the NFC how teams respond here, because, you know, the Rams have had their F them picks mantra. I mean, the team that has been every bit as aggressive as the Rams, if not a little bit more, over the last few years in the NFC has been Philadelphia, right? I mean, Philadelphia has been extremely aggressive. Well, they've just lost A.J. Brown. Look, I understand that they drafted Mekhi Lemon, but you can't tell me that losing A.J. Brown is a good thing for the Philadelphia Eagles. So how do they respond? Like, do they get into Josh Sweat stuff and try to get him back in there? Is Josh Sweat actually going to be on the move? Does Green Bay try to do it and load up with Parsons on one side and Josh Sweat on the other side? Like, to me, if you're an NFC team and you feel like you're in your window to win, you got to respond in some way. Like, in Philadelphia, I have no doubt will at least try to, because that's all they've done over the last 5 years. I'm interested to see who else tries to get their name in the hat for some of these guys that could be out there via trade.
Yeah, I mean, Sweat's interesting. That would be a very good ad for somebody. I don't know what else, you know, is out there. I mean, I think with Philly, you know, some of the responses, I mean, look, they're banking that you remove this distraction and this, obviously, this growing, you know, discontent and chasm between A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts, who, of course, have known each other for a long, long time. And now you're going to get a better version of Jalen Hurts. You know, Mekhi Lemon's going to come in and be a star right away. They still have a very good roster. You know, like they could, I mean, I still look at them, and I'm not dismissing them in the NFC. And that's the thing. It's just both of these guys, Hurts and Brown, this year, it's a lot about, okay, now that I'm away from that guy, I'm going to show you, like, this was dragging on me, you know? And I mean, I think AJ probably has a better case, because I just didn't think Hurts played well last year, regardless of all that stuff, you know? I thought he took a step back. But, again, maybe Maybe you take this stuff out of the equation and you just have a different vibe around the team. That can matter too.
It was kind of amazing. It all happened yesterday. Like I thought we
Yeah.
may get a few days beyond June 1st before all this stuff started to happen, but nope. First day, there it was.
Wait, Robert says, I said Myles is the best defensive tackle in the league. I say he's the best defensive player in the league. I know he's not a defensive tackle.
Yeah. He's not his point wasn't even that he's not a defensive tackle. He thinks Jeff is better. He's not.
Well,
Love Jeff Simmons, but come on.
Well, but
he's not as good as Myles Garrett.
No.
That's what he's saying. I'm saying he's wrong.
I'm so confused because now I see that you had a text there too. This is a great way to end the show. Excellent
Yes.
radio. Usually it's the beginning of the show. Go back and listen to the top. Ian and I will tell you all about our physical ailments.
Yeah, there's that too. That's going to do it for us today here on the program. Hope everybody has a wonderful rest of the day. Next Man Up with Jake Lyman is coming up next. You're listening to 102.5 The Game.